Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Sports Report. On tonight's programme, we'll be speaking to triathlete Chris Walker, who recently returned from Edmonton, Canada, as age group world champion. Richard talks mixed martial arts with Tony Joaquim and catches up with GPA President Sean Rombardo. And I speak to English FA coach educator Tony Ricketts, who was on the Rock last week delivering a Level 2 coaching course. We start, however, with the major sporting story of the week, Gibraltar's first ever UEFA qualifying match, which was played on Sunday evening in Faro. The squad left the Rock last Monday ahead of the game with no facilities available locally. The game saw just over 1,000 local fans make the trip for yet more history for the GFA. And just before 7:45 local time, Captain Roy Cipollina led Gibraltar onto the pitch. 12 second half minutes essentially took Gibraltar out of the contest with Poland as they scored 4 at the start of the second period. Gibraltar had held Poland to just a 1-0 advantage at the break, with Grzycki scoring in the 10th minute. This was Gibraltar's first ever UEFA competitive match and yet another historic occasion for Gibraltar football. After Poland had taken the lead, Gibraltar regrouped and showed they could match their more seasoned opponents. The wheels, however, came off the wagon for Gibraltar at the start of the second half, despite starting brightly. Grzycki scored his and Poland's second just 3 minutes in, before star player Bayern Munich's Robert Lewandowski got in on the act. He scored 2 in quick succession before Sulaka made it 5 on 58 minutes. Gibraltar stemmed the flow for the next half an hour before Lewandowski completed his hat-trick on 86 minutes, and he wrapped up the scoring with his 4th and Poland's 7th in the first minute of added time. National coach Alan Buller admitted it was a painful lesson, but one that he'll take on board as Gibraltar prepare for a double-header in a month's time against Ireland and Georgia. Adding fitness and sticking to the game plan are key. My colleague Paul Grant caught up with Alan after the match to get his thoughts.
Very proud, and it's been a very, very tough week for everyone concerned, and we felt the pressure and everything leading up to this game. Is something that the whole of Gibraltar has been dying for so many years now, and we've shaded together. Very disappointed in the result, but we're finally here. Got baptised in the qualifiers, and it's about picking ourselves up and looking forward to Ireland, the next match.
It's all a learning curve. What for you are the major positives to come out of this game, and would anyone's performance really warrant a mention, do you think?
Yeah, there's a lot of positive to get out of this game, and if you can last for 45 minutes and just be 1 goal down against Poland with the likes of Lewandowski and all that, then you think, right, we probably can give them a game at 90 minutes. So it's all about working hard and obviously getting the players in the right frame of mind. And it's just been so many things this week. Even myself, I've had feelings today that I've never felt them before, and it was the pressure probably got to a lot of players, to myself, but players like Lee Casiaro, Ryan Perez, just to name a few, they've given everything, and especially Lee coming back from that major injury, he's given it all, and it's worth a mention.
And looking forward to the upcoming games against Ireland and Georgia. It's all a learning curve, and we really are on the start of a long journey here. So surely you're excited. Yeah,
obviously very excited, and games like this will give us the strength in order for the game that we're going against Ireland. And I think probably Ireland probably should watch out for Gibraltar when we get meet them next month.
Paul was also able to speak to players Scott Wiseman and Brian Perez.
Scott, firstly, commiserations on the scoreline. I know a lot of the guys are quite disappointed about it. What are your thoughts on how the game went?
First half we've done fantastically well. 1-0 half time, we was in the game plan. We're still in the game. Half time, the team talk went well. We come out, we was confident. I think we showed our naivety and inexperience as a nation and as a new international football team. We needed to start the second half as we did the first. We think we tried to chase the game from the kick-off. Well, we didn't need to do that. We need to just consolidate and get our bearing back in the game again after half-time, which is what experienced teams do.
Clearly they have calibre all the way across the park, but did one man, Lewandowski, really prove that cutting-edge difference between the two teams?
Yeah, he did, and they all did. I mean, his movement is fantastic, and all of the movement is fantastic. And we knew that, and the people who's played against those type of players before, myself, David, was telling people what to expect. And I think the first half we nullified them. We didn't let them create too many chances. It was all half chances apart from the goal. And like I say, it was working well. So we are disappointed.
Yeah, and happy with the level of commitment and grit from the team?
The team was fantastic from minute one, and that was never going to be a doubt going into the game. It was just how well we could cope with it when we did go 1-0 down. And when we did go 1-0 down, the lads exceeded anybody's expectation. I think what everybody thought, once they go 1-0 down, it's going to be game over. And we proved that it's not, and we proved that we can get to half-time, we can compete with them and hold out. And if we'd have done that, who knows what would have happened. But like I say, we showed our inexperience and we got punished for it.
Well, we couldn't expect much more. We gave it our best. The first half we held well, 1-0, but can't compare us to an international country like Poland. I mean, population of 40 million, they can have choices of players which play at the highest level in Europe, and from this we have to learn. We just have to move forward and learn, keep our heads up and learn.
But yourself a major positive, you're back in action, it's great to see you back on the pitch. You must be feeling very, very satisfied about that.
That's right, and hungry for more as well.
And what are your hopes going into Ireland and Georgia, to retain your place in the first team?
Yeah, of course, for sure. Yeah, I'd be glad to retain my place in the first team. I hope I retain it.
There was also praise from Poland's manager Adam Norwacker for the spirit Gibraltar showed.
The question was how you can see Gibraltar game today and what do you think about this game. And the coach said, I'm proud of Gibraltar team and they've been very ambitious in that game. Obviously we came here for our 3 points and that's what we did, but the game, what they showed today, it's showing that they've got a future, they slowly got a future.
Local triathlete Chris Walker continued his impressive form over the triathlon season, and he returned to the Rock recently as a double medalist from the World Championships, which have been held in Edmonton, Canada. Chris' success came in the 45 to 49 age group and saw him win silver in the sprint event and gold in the standard triathlon. I spoke to Chris about his incredible summer successes and what's next on the cards for him and local triathlon.
Absolutely a wonderful experience for me. I didn't expect it going into the event in Edmonton. Having raced in London last year, I knew how competitive the World Championships were, so hoping for top 10, maybe top 5, but didn't feel particularly fresh going in. But I know that from past experience that you never know until the race actually starts, and I had 2 really good races.
You say like 2 good races. You already won a silver medal before the weekend. That must have really been a help and a spur for knowing the course and knowing what you were up against.
Yeah, I think it was, looking back, it was crucial that I had a good race on the Friday. It gave me the confidence to make some tactical decisions during the race that really got me the gold medal. Had I not made the decisions during the race to be quite bold and be quite aggressive, then I would have got caught at the end.
If we look at the World Championships over in Edmonton, Canada, just looking at the pictures on the screen on YouTube and so forth, it's hard to comprehend the vastness and how many athletes there were.
Well, you know, triathlon is the fastest growing sport in the world. There's huge numbers of participants now, hundreds of thousands. It's in the Olympics, it's a core sport, it's a major sport. So, you know, World Championships in a core sport is going to be an extremely competitive event. All the main countries of the world, you know, USA, Canada, Great Britain, all the European countries, they all have qualifying events for the World Championships because they're only allowed to send a certain number of athletes per age group to participate in these events. So you know when you're going into it that you're lining up against the best athletes in the world. And that's why it's so good and that's why it's so competitive. For me, you know, I get a great thrill out of being able to compete with these other athletes around the world, and especially at the sharp end. There's nothing better than racing for a podium position in the World Championships. You know, my runs in particular were particularly strong, but they were strong because I had an opportunity of winning and flying the flag for Gibraltar, and that's why I ended up performing as strongly as I did.
You had a lot of preparation pre-summer to come away. It must have been the most wonderful summer ever. At the age of 47, you're getting quicker and faster. Commonwealth Games, 2 World Championship, great results. Really put the hard work that you put in.
I mean, I've been really lucky, to be honest with you. I've had 3 fantastic years of racing. I think the Commonwealth Games, as we all know, you know, it wasn't really a true triathlon. It played to my strengths, and I was fortunate to get through that. The training that I did prior to the Commonwealth Games certainly helped me in Edmonton. I think the little rest that I had after the Commonwealths, both mentally and physically, actually made me better prepared. My own personal view is that I think I must probably race the strongest race I've ever done in Edmonton, and I think the performance was probably better than the performance that I put in Glasgow. You know, so yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with the way the year's gone. I'm fully aware that it's not going to continue forever. I'm going to make the most of this year being world champion. and then I can look back with great fond memories.
We say they're fond memories. When we spoke to you after the Commonwealth Games, it was thoughts of possibly retiring. Has this spurred you on to maybe look at the Gold Coast as the pinnacle where you will finally call it a day?
I don't think so. I think that I've definitely found it harder to compete at an elite level against all age groups. My times in Canada were good, but I really did have some fantastic races in Canada, and the Gold Coast is 3 years away. I'll be 50. And I know the drop-off that other athletes experience between 45 and 50. It is quite significant. So I'm going to keep training, I'm going to keep racing, but realistically, I'd love, for Andrew Gordon and some other younger people to come through and start beating me now, so that we can look forward to getting a strong team out for the Gold Coast.
We've also got the Island Games, looking to defend the Team Gibraltar gold there with Team Gibraltar.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just looking to set up some time trials now to start selecting the team. It'll be extremely difficult in Jersey. There'll be very strong teams from Jersey and Guernsey, but we'll definitely be there trying to compete for the medals again.
Back locally, are you surprised at how strong triathlon has become in more recent years?
I'm not, because I passionately love the sport, and I know how wonderful the sport is, and for all abilities. And I've been saying it now since we started the local association 14 years ago. It is for everybody, and we've now started to get a much wider range of abilities taking part, and a much wider range of ages taking part. We've started to get some younger athletes involved in the sport, and I think that will come to the fore next year in Jersey. So I'm just delighted that there are more people experiencing the sport and are loving it as much as I do.
And just finally, normally this time of year we have the NatWest triathlon, where you get the numbers and the people coming through, and there's some news coming up about that maybe later in the week.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be able to confirm on Friday that we will be able to hold the event this year. It's likely to be at the beginning of October, but we're definitely very keen, and we're working as a committee extremely hard to get the event sorted out for this year.
That's all for part one. After the break, we'll be talking pool, mixed martial arts and football coaching.